Sri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj ki Jai, The Supreme Master by Kiral Bharadwaj Garu. Chapter 2, The New Sun Rises. But the Swami left Akkalkot immediately. In 1856, Chinto Pant personally went to bring the Swami to Akkalkot on the back of a horse. While the two were on their way to Akkalkot, Chinto Pant received an urgent call from the district collector. He had no choice but to leave the Swami under a tree, requesting him to stay there until he come back. Chinto Pant kept his attendant to attend on him and went away to meet the collector. By evening, Chintopant hurried back to the tree, but there was no Swami there. The servant told him, I repeatedly requested the Swami to stay, but he had his way. I am not bound to anyone, he said, and taking a few paces, he suddenly disappeared. Crestfallen, Chintopant returned to his house wondering whether he would ever be able to meet the great saint again. It was Chintopant's habit to visit the temple of Lord Kandoba, the presiding deity of the village, on his arrival to Akkalkot. On this occasion too, when he went there, he was pleasantly surprised to see the Swami there playing like a child and requested him to come to his house. Our house is different, the Swami said, and would not yield to his request. After staying in the temple for a few days, Sri Swami Samarth shifted to the nearby gateway of the village. There, he stayed for 3 days without taking any food. On the fourth day, a Muslim by name Ahmad Ali Khan, who was working as Risaldar, saw the Swami. He took the Swami for a madman and asked him whether he wished to smoke. The Swami welcomed the offer. Ahmad Ali Khan gave him an empty pipe and mockingly said, Take it, here is Chilim. The Swami took it innocently and started puffing at it. The Risaldar was amazed to see the soon sparks of fire coming out of the pipe and smoke emerged from the Swami's mouth. Ahmad Ali Khan realized that the madman was indeed a great saint. So he proceeded to inquire humbly about the Swami's needs. He personally went to the house of a Brahmin by name Cholappa and got meal for the Swami prepared in that house. The Swami took Ahmad Ali Khan with him to the Brahmin's house. When the food was served to him, the Swami wanted Ahmad Ali Khan to touch his leaf plate before he ate it. At first, the Muslim hesitated, but when the Swami insisted, he had no choice but to touch the plate. Only then did the Swami eat. It was evident that Swami wanted to show the differences of caste, creed, and community were unfounded. The Swami never distinguished between Hindus and Muslims, dargahs, samadhis, and the temples. According to the Indian lunar calendar, the day on which Swami dined at the house of Cholappa was Ashwini Shuddha Panchami, September-October in the year 1856. From 1856 to 1877, the Swami stayed at Akkalkot. The Swami often used to go to the neighboring forest and fetch small sticks and play with them and tie them up with the threads plucked out of his blanket. When someone asked him what he signified by that, he replied, I am raising armies. Not long after, the first war of Indian independence broke out in 1857. Only then did the people realize the depth of the Swami's seemingly childish actions. Sometimes the Swami used to play by putting his head up to the neck inside each cannon in the royal palace. In the not distant future, many of the Indian heroes in the struggle for independence were killed by the British in exactly the same manner. Their heads were blasted with cannons. In a village named Rampur in the district of Sholapur, there lived two of the Swami's devotees, Raju Patil and his wife Vital Bhai, whom the Swami visited now and then. On one of his visits, the couple vowed to the Swami that on his next visit they would feed 40 Brahmins. After some time, the Swami visited Rampur along with Cholappa. Raju Patil and Vittalbai made all the necessary arrangements to feed 40 Brahmins. But by that time, thousands of devotees from all the neighboring villages flocked to see the Swami. At noon, the two devotees bowed to him and invited him for lunch. The Swami, who was smoking hookah at that time, said, Let all the others eat first, then we'll eat. The two devotees stood there dumb and helpless. How could they feed all the others? The Swami understood their plight and ordered for a new basket made of bamboos to be fetched from the bazaar. Then he got all the foodstuffs that were cooked for the 40 Brahmins to be put in it and kept all the idols and the idols that were in their family shrine over the food and covered them with rotis. Then he made the two devotees worship goddess Annapurna and told Vital Bhai to carry the basket on her head thrice around the holy Tulsi plant in Pradakshina. Then he asked them to keep the basket in the kitchen and serve food to all the devotees who arrived there, not merely for 40 Brahmins. The one condition that he laid on them was that they should take as much as they could carry for serving from the basket and not turn back to observe how much food was left in it. The feeding went on continuously from morning to evening. Many people had their lunch. Then at the end of it, Patil prostrated before the Swami with tears of gratitude in his eyes and requested him to have his lunch at least for his sake. The Swami smiled and said, "My father and my grandfather has not yet been fed. I shall eat after they do." No one could understand the significance of his words. Shortly, there arrived from Sholapur a group of devotees who too had their lunch. Only then Swami took his meal. Next morning, when the hosts went and saw the basket, they were surprised to find all the food that they had cooked for 40 people there intact. Jadhav was an employee in the court of Raja Maloji. He was a great devotee of Swami Samarth. He was a potter by caste. The Swami used to address him Potter. One day, Swami said to him, "You Potter, a chit has been received on your name." Jadhav could immediately understand the significance of the cryptic expression. It meant that the days of his earthly life was numbered. Immediately he bowed to Swami and said, weeping, "Swami Samarth, please save me. Not that I am afraid of death, but because I am afraid I may never get an opportunity to serve you again. Please save me so that I can serve you longer." The Swami smiled most benignly, and pointing at a bull which stood at a distance, cried, "Go!" At once the bull fell dead. Thereby, not only did the Swami give an opportunity to Jadhav to serve him longer and thus elevate himself spiritually, but he also saved and uplifted the soul of the bull from that low birth. Once Swami Samarth along with Jadhav went to a village called Aitagi. When he was sleeping, a native from that village by name Ramanna was bitten by a cobra. The villagers took him to the temple of Hanuman, but he died on the way. Jadhav came to know about it, and he immediately took the sandals of Swami and put them on the head of corpse in an attempt to revive it. The moment his sandals touched the corpse, the Swami got up with a shock and started abusing Jadhav. "Where is this useless Jadhav? He has taken my sandals and put them on the head of the corpse. Drag that fellow here." The news of Swami's anger at once reached Jadhav, and he approached the saint hanging his head in shame. He quietly swallowed all the abuse that Swami heaped on him, but finding that the Swami's fury was on the increase and fearing that he might even be beaten, he quietly slipped from the place and hid himself in a solitary place. But the Swami went to him straight and commanded him, "Go near the dead body and call his name loudly thrice in each ear. He will come back to his life again." Jadhav did as the Swami bade, and Ramanna was revived. The Swami was wild for having been forced by his devotee's foolish desire to interfere with the fate of Ramanna, but had to grant his wish to sustain his devotee's faith. One Appa Sutar, who was a close devotee of Sri Swami Samarth, by the Swami's grace he had a rich harvest, and gratefully he invited the Swami to dine on his field. The Swami went to his field with a number of devotees, and all of them sat around a fire in which the grain were to be roasted. The Swami started sipping mouthfuls of water from a vessel and spouting it onto the fire. The fire, which should have been extinguished by it, started blazing more brightly. Everyone was surprised. It looked as though ghee was being poured in the fire rather than water. This miracle closely resembles the one performed by Sri Sai Baba of Shirdi when he kept lamps burning with water instead of oil. Jai Sai Master.